All right. Yeah, I'm gonna cover everything I can. So first things first, for the mace, general tips. You want to focus on, when you're doing things, you want to focus on the fluidity of what you're doing. So rather than doing a bunch of complex stuff and then hoping that it all connects, it'd be better just to do simple stuff with have it all transition very smoothly. Right, so if I start twirling and then I start throwing it and it gets all janky and it loses spin, then it doesn't look good. So first thing that we're going to cover to make that fluidity possible is a two-handed twirl. So first step is you'll take your mace at about half grip, half and half, and what you're going to do is just start with your right hand and spin it until you get to here, so that the mace is upside down and you're holding it with just your thumb. And then do it again, go faster, and just do that a couple times. Get your hand stretched out, get used to your thumb rolling, right? Because your right hand, when you twirl to the right, is going to do most of the work. So once you get that down, right, it's the closed fist to show me the money was the way that they described it at DMA. So being able to just move your other fingers while your thumb holds it is very important. So to add on to that, you'll then, when you get to the bottom to make it a full twirl, you'll insert your left hand over top and make a butterfly. And as it reaches this point, you'll take it into your left hand and do the opposite of what your right hand did, which will bring it back. And of course you can twirl to the left and do the exact same thing. It's not advised, but you certainly can do it. So what that looks like in motion, starting with your right hand, all the way around, insert your left, grab, and go. And so to come back to the top and give it back to your right hand, it's like holding a paddle. And so you just do that, and eventually you'll get comfortable with it. But for now, just focus. Your first step is to just start with your right hand and bring it all the way down. And once you get that down, to insert your left hand and grab it in the butterfly. And then once you get comfortable with that, then you can start doing things where you look away, you can go faster, spin it faster, right? This is going to be your main key to looking cool as a drum major. Because that's the connecting move for me. My personal experience has always been going into a twirl or using a twirl to go into another step, to go into something cooler. So building off of that, something that you can do that's also kind of challenging is a one-handed twirl. So what you'll do is same process, just instead when you get to here, when you get to that release point is when you let go and you sort of push it up a bit, and then you'll catch it with your hand. I'm not as good with this as I am with my two-hand, but something like that. That's not my strong suit, so you want to become better than me, then that's something that you can do. Same process, same hand movements, so really get down that two-hand twirl. That's really what's going to make the difference. Third thing that I'm going to suggest is the behind the back twirl. So it's the same process as in front, the only difference is you do it behind the back. So to do that is, as you're spinning, you'll reach a point where you feel that you can go. So you'll spin clockwise if you're going right, counterclockwise if you're going left, but I don't know why you would be going left. So that would be turning, and as you go, instead of the right hand, so instead of the right hand return where you look like this in your kayak position, instead of facing forward with it around your waist, it's going to be behind around the small of your back. And then you'll finish it out from there as you continue your spin around in place. So that'll be, what is that? So you'll spin, and then you'll grab it behind, just like that. So at speed, something like that. I'm stopping myself so I have enough energy to do more stuff, which is much cooler than that. But you can wow a lot of people if you spin. You can usually do it with one hand, and then transition to behind the back. You can make a lot of people feel really good about themselves, saying, wow, that's a really good Mount Hebron drum major. So, to make it even more, showmanship and show-offy, the next thing you want to do is a rifle toss. And this is something that the Cavaliers are really good at. So if you get lost, just go to them, and hell, they might even teach you other moves. So, to do a rifle toss is very simple. You can do one from a static position, you can do one out of a twirl, you can do one out of whatever else you're doing with your hands. Yeah. There's a lot of options for a rifle toss, but the idea is that it looks cool, because you're letting go and you're putting faith in yourself to catch it. So that would be, you're going, and in order to do the rifle toss properly, what you want to do is, as you grab the top of your mace, you'll swing it out to the side, and then you'll swing it upright. So it'll be completely perpendicular with the ground at a 90-degree angle. Or, yeah, 90-degree angle. That's the ideal launch point. It's okay if you don't get it. Those first couple tosses are going to be scary, but once you do it, once you get it down, it looks really good. So I'll demonstrate one. Keep in mind that you want to grab as close as you can to the top or the bottom of the mace. When you toss with the top closer to when your hand is at the top of the mace, you will get more spin out of the mace as it's in the air, and when you throw with the bottom, you will get more height. That's usually the trade-off, because it's heavier at the bottom, so it's more spin, more height. So I always recommend starting with the head first and then switching over, but to demonstrate, that second take, not that first one. That first one was garbage, don't pay attention to that. Yeah, so, even so, I still have to practice that. That's something that I'm not perfect with, but save your tosses for parades, save them for when you feel most confident. And yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with that, but your next question is, oh, well, I'm spinning, I feel good about my rifle tosses, but I keep getting my mace out to the side, and I don't know what to do with it out there. Right, so you just stop your spin, you bring it back in, pretend like nothing ever happened. So one of the rescue things that we can have for that is called a J-toss. So it's the same process as before, except instead of throwing it on the inside of your body, you're throwing it on the outside of your body. So you would start by going out, or in, and then out. And you catch it with your other hand, you can come back in and try and grab it, whatever floats your boat. But that's the idea, is that it comes around your body. It's a lot more interesting in terms of using your full body, right? Because one of the 4 core aspects of being a drum major is showmanship. That's something that they harp on at DMA, is that showmanship is the least important category of drum major. However, it is still important to being a drum major. So keeping a steady beat, demonstrating adaptability and leadership skills, those are all very important things, but showmanship is right up there with them, even if it isn't considered the most important by the people in your band, right? So to the audience, showmanship is most important. They don't care about your leadership qualities, they don't care about your ability to keep a steady tempo until halftime, right? In a parade, you are the showman, right? Give them a show. So, you know, you bring your arms out, you bring more attention to yourself, right? And you're free to do whatever you want, right? The Cavaliers have their routines, the Lancers have their routines. You make your routine as you go, or you make it prior to. I don't know, whichever you prefer. But you decide you don't want to do a J toss, that's fine by me. If you decide you don't want to do a rifle toss, again, fine by me. But whatever you decide to do in that moment is what the audience is going to remember, right? Most importantly with homecoming and Hagerstown, if there's a Hagerstown this year. There's a season at all. Anyway, so what is that? So, quick, short break before we get into some of the more intermediate advanced stuff is your two-hand twirl, remembering to start with just your hand going like that, making sure that you can move all your fingers and hold on with just your thumb, creating that butterfly shape to grab the mace and swing it back over, coming back to here, practicing that, get that up to speed, close your eyes, start doing it with one hand, which I still have trouble starting for some reason, but I don't do that trick that very often. And then being able to go behind the back. It's the same thing, just remember where the mace is. And then tosses, we went over rifle tosses, got to be straight up. J tosses are a little more lenient, but I would say around 60 degrees would be an ideal release point as you're, and you know, making sure to like check your wrist to make sure that it actually comes back in and you don't throw it, you know, at some poor parent or kid. Yeah, so moving forward, this one you can do in a parade, but I would recommend it more as an exercise to warm up. So you start by twirling, and then what you're going to do is when you feel the ball coming to your right hand, and with enough twirling practice, you'll be able to determine the difference between which side is the ball and which side is the bottom, mainly because of weight. So you'll feel it's a lot lighter on the head spins. You'll be able to find it also because it's bigger. So if you're watching it, then you can do that too. But yeah, if you just want to practice that twirling motion and figure out how that feels before you come back to this next part, then absolutely go for it. But to move forward with it, what you're going to do is you'll find that ball point, and then you're going to let go with your left hand and swing it out as if you were going to do a J toss, but instead of doing a J toss, when you get out to here, switching your hand. So you will go from here to here. And so that'll be out to your side. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring the head out to the top. You're going to grab the bottom. You're going to leave your hand like this. You're going to let go with your right hand and create the mirror with your left hand. And then you're going to do it again. And again. And again. And again. And you're going to keep doing it until you feel your arms are warmed up and stretched, or not. Or if you want to switch to something else. It's also good for figuring out the length of your mace when you get started. This is something I picked up from Timothy Freerson. So, that guy knows his stuff. Yeah, so give that a try. Also never hurts to just put it behind your neck, take a chill pill. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, give that a couple tries. That's also good for when you need to get creative. Just throw the mace out there. Also comes really nicely into a J toss. You know what to do from there. I'm sure you're already planning it. Thing number 8 is more twirls in front of the body, but with a different hand position. So what you had been learning previously is that you will spin, and your hands will come like this, and this, to pick up the mace as it's twirling. So if you decide that you're going to inverse the rotation, so instead of going like this, you go like that, right? So if I basically draw a circle with my right hand, I come back here, I spin it around my arm, so now I'm here. So if I grab it like this, I can come back and give myself something more to do. Or if I do it again, and I come back and I grab it here, with both hands in front, facing down, then I have an opportunity to do something cool, which, keep the spin going. I just grab it in the middle. Right? It definitely looks a lot cooler to you than it does to your audience, but it also has widespread arms, and that's something that a lot of audiences like to see, is the mace leaving your person, right? You have your own little bubble, and that's where most twirls happen. But if you can do a twirl that's not near your body, it'll look cool all the same. Stuff like that. That's not a requirement. That's something that's a little more advanced, but definitely cool if you can pull it off. I'd be super proud of you. And then the final thing, which is what I think is the coolest, is what's called the scorpion. Greg Segala, a drum major from 6 years ago, taught me this during band camp. So it's a little more complex, but it is a very good starter for other moves. So what you'll do is you'll hold the mace at half length with the ball facing out. I'd recommend that you go through the other seven things that I've already taught you. Make sure that you at least have an elementary level of consistency with them before you try this, because it will hurt if you mess up, because there's a lot of neck and armpit action right here, right here. You can hit yourself in the head. I have done it. It does hurt. So the first thing that you will do is you'll hold your arm out, and what you're going to do is you're going to spin the mace so that the ball is right tucked in with your armpit. Right? It can be here, it can be here. Well, it's ideally tucked away underneath your armpit like this. From there, you will draw an arc of, I'd say, 270 degrees, 300 degrees, like that. So those first two steps are spin and draw. And the reason we do that arc is so we can throw the mace behind us. It gives us a little more momentum when we do it. So again, out in front, tuck, draw, throw back. That throw back is the third step. So tuck, draw, tuck, draw, and then when you feel comfortable, throw it back. It'll go across your bicep. And then when you have it here, then you will bring it forward, and now you're back and you're holding it in front, which, you know what that means, rifle toss. So, to do that whole thing in motion with my right hand. Now, of course, you don't have to go into a rifle toss. You can always just bring it back into twirling. You could always do some other cool move with it. Really, the main thing with this kind of stuff is having a starting move and then just keeping the mace flowing for as long as you want to. that's really the science behind mace tricks and why they look so cool and why I think it's really cool to do them. So yeah, I hope you guys have a season.